What's going on, guys? It is DigiWatchTCG coming to you with a deck profile post Carta Magica's Ultimate Cup. Now, I did play in this regional. This is the end of the night right here, so I apologize if my voice is a little hoarse. I definitely think that it was a very crazy tournament. I actually was super surprised at some of the matchups, and if I knew the matchups, obviously, like I would have changed a few things in my deck, but it was definitely a cool experience to get, and I did come in 112th, which basically means I get the alternate art Vmon promo, which is really cool. I actually am very excited. I wish I got into the top. If I won my final match, I would have been in the top 64. I think that would have been about right, possibly even in the top 32, because I was right on the edge there. I'm going to go over my matches at the end of the video. Please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts below. But I'm going to go over the deck profile, what I liked, what worked well, and then what didn't, and what I would probably possibly change. So starting off with the rookies. I'm going to try to do this reverse, but here we go. We are playing 4 of the Vmon. Oh, actually, I forgot the eggs, but I'll get to the eggs after in a second. We have 4 of the Searcher Vmon. It's just the most consistent card, I think, in the entire deck, in my opinion. I always saw it. Like, I hated to Digivolve on top of it sometimes, because, like, sometimes that's your only choice. To be able to just build up your stack in raising. But sometimes it would be better just to play it out. But absolutely 4 of, can't change that. So 4... here. Then 4 of the EX Vmon, absolutely necessary to play at 4 in my opinion. It's just super strong. Being able to unsuspend a gain of memory. You do that every time you go into your Imperialdramon or fighter mode, so you'll always gain. And there was actually one match today where I just hard played 2 of these, just put it out on the field, and then I was able to Digivolve into both of these, go into my Imperialdramon, and gain 2 memory, which was ridiculous. We played 2 of the new EX2 Labramon. I think this just helps the deck a lot, even though it's 1k and sometimes it doesn't work out with what you're trying to do. Labramon is very good in that it gets you an extra memory, so you can either go into Vmon or Labramon. Most of the time, if you're not holding the actual X Vmon in hand, though, you may want to consider going into the Vmon over the Labramon, because Lightramon, for example, does not allow you to Digivolve, and this effect is only active with jamming. So you may want to like hard play this and play your Vmon if you're looking to like Jogress. And then the last 2 rookies is the jamming Vmon. Absolutely necessary, at least at 2. I would consider playing more. And I am only playing 12 rookies, which is definitely less than a lot of other people play. People play like 14 sometimes. I think that's a little excessive. At the most, I'd go 13, one more spot. But it didn't really... there was only one game that I ever bricked and never pulled like a rookie. And I honestly hard played my Imperialdramon and just swung, because he gave me like 4, and then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna hard play this. He actually mega deathed it back, and then I replayed it again like the next turn, basically going into fighter mode after that, and then just being able to swing, and just I had so much momentum at that point. So that is the rookies here. Just quickly, the eggs are really not too important. We have 1 Upamon, 4 Demi Vs. I'm almost half possibly interested in just cutting the Upamon. I'll be fair. Sometimes I do it on the Upamon, and it's just not needed, or it's not going to give you the extra draw. So I don't know if playing 4 is good, or maybe just playing the dummy Vs, but that's the eggs. Like, it's not really too crazy. I don't think anyone will really care whether they play that or not. Again, the rookies, I don't think I would change at all, in my opinion, except maybe just adding a rookie, possibly. And I'll show you what I would potentially take out for it, or another card I'm going to go into. So 4X Vmon, we know what it does. It has jamming and inheritable jamming. That's why you play it. Stingmon for reduced cost and drawing 1. I will say sometimes there's a weird thing that happens, that when you have your like Imperialdramon and you're like trying to figure out like what you need to do, or searching for a card. I was at one point at 3 cards left in deck, and I ended up winning, but like it was a bit crazy. 2 of the Lightramon, I would definitely bump this up to 3, just to have another green. There were times I really wanted to see a green. and you know, I just didn't have it. One Magna, I don't think I would ever change this out. It's absolutely necessary. There were times where I was basically knocking on death's door, having like very small security, and just having the Magnamon out was just able enough to like stop your opponent. And then they have to choose: do they want to run over it, or do they want to try to get you down to 0 security? And it just was really powerful. And then Lobo for Lobo for game. For this, like I said, I think I would add one more possibly. And I'll show the choices I would consider taking out just to make the deck a little bit more consistent. But there is definitely some good stuff in here. But yeah, that is the champion lineup. And then we're going to go into our level 5s. So we are playing the 4 Imperialdramon. Absolutely necessary to play 4 of. They were, I think, absolutely needed. You can't go less than this. It's just, it's super powerful. Just being able to Digivolve, swing, you know, that it's really just really good. 1 Chimeramon, 1 Dino B. Hold this. I would suggest if this is your only chance of getting into your level 5 and you're worried that your opponent's gonna like kind of just delete your board, you know, absolutely go into it. But and this killed my entire opponent's field. With D Reaper. So I think Chimeramon is good. I only placed 1 D Reaper today, by the way. And then Dino B, absolutely stunning card. Stops your opponent from digivolving, being able to unsuspend, especially in a mirror match, which I will get into in a minute. It's really just the win con for that, because especially if you get them to their level 6, if they have a fighter mode, it's absolutely necessary. Then we have our 2 dragon modes and our 2 fighter modes. I wouldn't change this for the world. I think 2 and 2 is the absolutely correct ratio. I don't think that you need to get this. And there was one game that I actually pulled into like all 4 of these in like it just bricked, but it was really good. That's all I can say about that. It was really good, and my 6 lineup I wouldn't change for the world. And then 1 Shivaman. This is the first card I would consider cutting. A lot of people actually were telling me beforehand to cut this, and I did not necessarily not agree with them. But I was like, well, if you're playing matchups like against security control or decks that like really play a lot of options like Mastemon, this card does wonders. But it kind of just stays there on afterwards. And there were so many times where I drew into Dragon mode, and I had a choice between Shiva and Dragon mode. And there was actually, I made a really bad misplay that I think ended up costing me the game. No, it actually was a tie. But basically, I digivolved into Shivaman. I totally forgot he gets a buff with his D Reaper cards, and he was able to swing over it. And I don't know why I just put it out there. I literally just played it out there instead of like just going wide with the board. And you know, it was just a dumb idea for me, but I would definitely cut this. This would be the first card I cut, is the Shivaman. So I'll put that a little bit lower here. Then lastly, for our level 7, it's Blitz Omni. I will say I was on the fence about playing this because I think going very, very big sometimes is wrong. But there was 2 instances this came up. One, I digivolved on top of a fighter mode that was suspended and couldn't be unsuspended by a Dino B, and then I just digivolved into Omnimon, swung for game. And then the other time I digivolved, I was able to swing over like a Mastemon my opponent was playing, and he just chaos degraded it. I mean, it happens. You could do it with anything, but I don't know. I'm very divided about this card. I would say that this and Shivaman would be my number 1 and 2 picks of like possibly moving out of the deck. In terms of options, we have pretty much generic what we're doing. Hidden Potential, this is broken, it should be banned. Ice Wall, triple Hammer Spark. I'm thinking that one of the spaces possibly that I would put in would be maybe another Hammer Spark or a Blue Memory Boost instead of the Shivaman, just because it does get you your pieces a little bit faster, it builds up the consistency, and if it's, you can put it into your delay, so you don't necessarily it kind of is a short-term investment. And then 3 Mega Deaths, absolutely necessary in this deck. But I will say, for some reason, my these options, only one of them ever at a time was in my security. Um, I just got very unlucky of not having Megadeths in security when I needed them. There was actually one game that was like, please just hit into a Megadeth. That, and he had a McDokey on field, and it would have, if he had hit into Megadeth, it would have just let me have the game essentially on the next turn. And that's not what happened, unfortunately. But and that's what happened. That's what it is. But absolutely. Lastly, with the Tamers, for consistency purposes, 3 Davis Ken. Absolutely, I don't think I would ever change out of 6. There possibly once or twice, maybe go into Mimi, but I think for consistency purposes, this gets you pieces much faster. And I will say that if you're a player, if you're new to Imperialdramon, what you want to do if you're going second or even sometimes first is set up your Tamers first if you know that they can't get deleted, because these are your long-term investments. If you think of your deck as money, or like, kind of like long-term, short-term investments, your Digimon are your short-term investments. They're going to go away very, very quickly. The higher up you get, the more value you put into it. You gain from that. But your Tamers are there for life, unless they're deleted by other effects. But absolutely necessary to play 6 of. Going over the matchups, round 1, I lost the die roll and faced into Imperialdramon. Mirror match. He won 1-2. It was pretty standard. Like, it was just whoever got to Imperialdramon first. Round 2, same thing against Imperialdramon, but I actually won that one 2-0. He just kind of I actually bricked and I went into my Imperialdramon in raising. Not Imperialdramon, sorry, Pyodramon in raising, and then just brought it out, had the Tamer, and just was able to just continuously gain memory and spam cards out. Round 3 was Red Hybrid. I lost a die roll, but I actually ended up winning 2-1. Just was able to get there before he was, and I think game 3 he ended up missing, I kept bouncing cards from his field to his hand, and I eventually was able to just get rid of everything underneath his card, so he didn't get his 4 in time. And then I think that's how I ended up winning. Round 4, I faced Imperialdramon, lost the die roll, lost the game. Round 5, lost the die roll, won the game. Both Imperialdramons. So right at that point, I was 3-2. Round 6, I faced against Red Reaper, which is kind of scary, and we ended up going into time actually, because both of us were kind of thinking very, very hard, because it is essentially a timed game, where not in the sense of time with your opponent, but the Mother D Reaper has to essentially build up, and you can get that in maybe 4 to 6 turns if you're playing the deck the way you should. And then he was playing a red base, so he was basically getting a delicate plan and being able to swing. And that was the game where I think I messed up, because I went to Shivaman, and then that was the one he swung over with Gatekeeper. I totally forgot that D Reapers gained a buff on their turn. So that was my mistake, but we went at the time, and it ended up being a draw, a 1-1-1 draw. I did win the dice roll, which was lucky for me, and I should have been a little bit more aggressive, I think, with my plays. Just to get rid of his security, because it's very hard for them to recover with that. Round 7, I don't remember who won the die roll for that, but I was facing Armor Rush. I actually recall the player because his sleeves are ridiculously good. They're Bleach sleeves, if you know the show Bleach. So I was playing Armor Rush, and I was just able to just kind of choke him at times, just bring him to 1-2 memory, and every time he would digivolve, I would be able to bounce his card or suspend it. I went to fighter mode quite a few times, and then just being able to he would bounce it back to hand. I'd build up to Pyodramon's digivolve, and then be able to bounce another card up to hand, and he would have to reset every time. So I think that's how I ended up winning against him on that round. That was round 7. Round 8 was Mastemon. I lost the die roll. So he went first, and he actually gave me a decent amount of memory every turn. So I was able to pretty much go into my stuff relatively quickly. I just you have to know not to get chaos degraded, and there was a time where I actually was a very tough spot, and I digivolved in raising, and then I was just swing. He hit into 2 hell side. I hit into 2 hell sites on 2 different occasions, but he had nothing to bring back in his trash. And then basically, yeah, like it was just good. It was just a really good matchup. So I won that 2-1. And then, so that was my 5-2-1. And then round 6 was like, round 9 was like the make it or break it round. So I played into another Imperialdramon list, of course. Like, I literally faced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 list of Imperialdramon. And if you want to call Armor Rush kind of like an Imperialdramon deck, I guess you could. But I basically played against him, and I won game 1, and then I lost game 2, and then game 3, I think I made the wrong mistake. I went first, and I gave him 3 memory, and that was a lot of memory, and because I think he was able to like Hammer Spark, be able to play like another card, and then had like 2 cards where I only had like one in like hammer what's it called, jamming Vmon, X Vmon. So unfortunately, he got to his Imperialdramon, and then I ended up breaking like with the rest of the stuff. I had to like hard Digivolve on cards. He kept bouncing cards back to hand, so I just like he just had to control the board. And then eventually, when you get control of the board and you drag mode your opponent, then if that's essentially if they have nothing on the board, that's it. That's game. Overall, I think that it was a really fun tournament. I definitely think that I would have cut the Shivaman going into this tournament, knowing what it was going to be like, and maybe play another Hamspark or Blue Memory Boost or something else. Even maybe possibly another Tamer, I'm not sure. I think I would have either went one more Vmon or one more of my level 4s, or possibly even maybe even like a level, I don't know, level 5 card. Something. I don't know. I'm kind of like confused of what I should have taken out for that. But overall, it was a good experience. I really enjoyed it. And I came in 112, which means I'm going to get a promo Vmon, and which I wanted. That was definitely something I wanted. And XV, even though I don't really care for the artwork too much. I do think it's cool artwork, obviously, but unfortunately, like, didn't come in that high. I think I could have possibly got into top 32, because at the end of round 8 or starting round 9, I was at table 33. And if you think about how they do the rounds and stuff like that, that means that you're in top 66 people total overall, because I think that's how it works. And if you win, you move up. So there was a small chance that in table 33, if I won, I would have possibly been into the top 32 and gotten the Imperialdramon alternate art, which would have been great. But that's not what happened, and I'm hoping that maybe we get one more Ultimate Cup before this format is over, and I could possibly end up winning one more. We'll probably be in BT9 by that time. But that's my deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Please like, subscribe, and sub. Thanks.